Hello everybody, this is Blade from the Hidden Blade channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about whether I think the Nintendo Switch expansion pack is worth it now or not. When it originally started, Nintendo Switch Online retailed for $20 and was just an online membership to Nintendo's games. It had some bonuses, like giving you old NES games and SNES games, and also cloud saving, but the main feature was you could play online. And then they released the expansion pack, which along with Nintendo Switch Online was $30 extra, so $50 a year. And it just gave you N64 games that you could also play. Now, when you really think about this, I think that the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack deal has gotten much better over the previous time. Considering that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just released its DLC and it's going to have 8 waves of 8 tracks each, I think that's more than enough to make up for it. 64 entire tracks, which was originally cost $25, you can spend about half of that just getting the expansion pack or normal. And if you buy the normal Nintendo Switch Online to play Mario Kart 8 with your friends, well, that would cost you $45, so why not put in the $5 extra for the N64 deal? And then there's Animal Crossing New Horizons DLC, Happy Home Island. I think that this is not as good as a deal as the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe deal, because the Mario Kart 8 is going to expand over time. Same with the N64 pack. The Animal Crossing DLC is kind of a one-and-done little side thing that they probably could have released as some sort of crappy mobile game if it hasn't been released already. One of the most underrated features of the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, it also comes with Sega Genesis games, which I think this is a little bit more valuable than N64, considering N64 games aren't especially hard to find, but they're not exactly super cheap. Now, Sega Genesis games are way rarer, especially some of the titles on there that's not as common. Not as many people own a Sega Genesis as they would an N64 or SNES. The Sega Genesis was very popular, but I know not many people kept it afterwards, because there wasn't much to do with it as time went on and you would upgrade to a better console. And with Sega getting a bad reputation over the years, it was looked down upon as lame or dumb to have a Sega Genesis, considering that Sega had built itself but such a bad reputation. You could just buy a PlayStation or PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 also had a DVD player. Why would you want a Dreamcast when you could buy a PlayStation? You could buy the new Nintendo console. There was just so many options, and Sega wasn't able to compete. But now that we have the N64 expansion pass, it allows you to play these Sega Genesis games, and you can get the original controller with it, which I think is quite a nice feature, because these games, as I said, are not readily available like N64 games. Millions and millions of copies of N64 games have been produced, but Sega Genesis games are a little bit rarer. So I think the fact that you can play them on your Switch is incredibly nice. And one last point I want to make is that they're also all portable. You are playing on a Nintendo Switch, which is portable and you can take somewhere. Which is the main feature of the Nintendo Switch. It can be a home console, or it could be on-the-go console. So you really gotta consider your options. And I think that's where I'm gonna wrap it up for today, everybody. This has been Blade from the Hidden Blade channel. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye!